The morning sun on planet Verath burned orange instead of yellow. Captain Hana checked her equipment one more time before the march began. Her team stood ready behind her, waiting for her signal. They had traveled across the stars to reach this planet, and today would decide if humans could make friends here or not. The aliens who lived on Verath called themselves the Kai. They looked like tall birds with 4 arms and silver feathers that caught the light. Their leader, Ambassador Taiho, watched Hana with eyes that seemed too large for his narrow face. Next to him stood Ambassador Minji, smaller but with brighter feathers that shimmered blue and green. "You understand the terms?" Taiho asked. His voice came out through a small device on his chest that turned his words into human language. 10 kilometers through the wild lands. Your team must reach the sacred stones before sunset. Hana nodded. "We understand." "Many have tried," Minji added. Her tone carried something that sounded like a warning. "None have succeeded." Hana looked back at her team. Jinwoo stood closest to her, carrying medical supplies and scanning equipment. Yuna and Minho carried the heavy packs with food and water. Sora and Hyun brought up the rear with defense tools and communication gear. They were tired from the long journey through space, but their eyes showed determination. "We're ready," Hana said. The Kai ambassadors stepped back. Other Kai gathered around them, perhaps 50 or 60 in total. They would watch from a distance using their flying cameras. This was their tradition for any species that wanted to join their alliance. A test of strength, they called it. A test of worth. Hana took the first step forward. The ground under her boots felt harder than earth soil, more like packed clay mixed with small stones. The air smelled strange, like metal and flowers mixed together. Her breathing mask filtered out anything harmful, but let through enough scent for her to experience this new world. The team moved in formation. They had trained for months back on Earth for this moment. Every step counted. Every decision mattered. The Kai Alliance controlled 12 star systems and had trading agreements with 30 more. If humans could join, it would change everything for Earth. The path led through tall grass that reached up to Hana's waist. The blades were purple and moved even when no wind blew. Strange sounds came from all directions. Clicks and whistles from creatures they could not see. The orange sun climbed higher, making the air grow warmer. After an hour of walking, the grass gave way to rocky terrain. Hana felt sweat running down her back under her uniform. She kept her pace steady, not too fast and not too slow. Behind her, she could hear her team's breathing, controlled and even. "Captain," Jinwoo said quietly. "Movement to our left. Something large." Hana saw it too. The grass shook about 30 meters away. Something moved through it, coming closer. She raised one hand, signaling the team to keep moving forward. "Do not stop. Do not show fear." Those were the rules. The creature burst from the grass without warning. It looked like a mix between a bear and a lizard, covered in dark scales with patches of fur along its spine. 4 eyes focused on the humans. It stood on 4 powerful legs, each ending in claws that dug into the ground. The creature's mouth opened, showing teeth as long as Hana's fingers. "Hold formation," Hana said calmly. The creature charged toward them. The team tensed, but did not break apart. Hana knew from the briefing materials that showing fear would trigger an attack. The Kai had told them the wildlands were dangerous. This must be one of those dangers. But the creature did not attack. It stopped 10 meters away, raised its head, and made a deep rumbling sound. Then it turned and walked parallel to them, keeping the same distance. It was following them, but not attacking. "Keep moving," Hana ordered. They walked for another hour. The creature stayed with them like a shadow. Sometimes it moved closer, sometimes farther away, but it never left. Hana felt its eyes on her constantly. Her muscles stayed tight, ready to react if needed. The rocky ground began to slope upward. They were climbing now, their pace slowing slightly. Hana's legs burned from the effort. The orange sun beat down without mercy. She took small sips of water from her pack but did not stop moving. Then she heard it. A small sound, almost like a chirp. It came from behind. "Captain, don't move suddenly," Yuna whispered urgently. Hana felt weight land on her back, light at first, then heavier. Sharp points pressed through her jacket, not quite breaking the reinforced fabric. Something small had jumped onto her pack. "What is it?" she asked quietly, not turning her head. "A cub," Jinwoo said, his voice tight with tension. "The adult creature's offspring." The weight shifted on her back. Hana felt claws digging in, trying to find a secure grip. The small creature made another chirping sound, higher pitched this time. Through the corner of her eye, she could see the adult creature watching. It had stopped walking and now stood completely still, all four eyes fixed on Hana. "What do I do?" Hana asked. "The Kai database said the cubs are deadly," Sora said from behind. "Their claws carry venom. Even a small scratch can kill within minutes." Hana felt her heart beating faster. The cub moved again, its claws scratching against her pack. One wrong move and those claws might tear through the fabric and reach her skin. She thought about reaching back to remove it, but the adult creature's posture suggested that might be a mistake. In the distance, she could see the Kai observers. Their flying cameras hovered closer now, recording everything. This was part of the test, she realized. Maybe the most important part. "We keep walking," Hana said. "Captain, that's—" Minho started. "We keep walking," Hana repeated firmly. She took a step forward. The cub's weight shifted, but it did not fall off. Its claws dug in deeper, finding purchase. Hana felt the sharp points through her jacket, pressing against the protective vest underneath. Not breaking through yet, but close. Too close. She took another step, then another. The cub chirped again, sounding almost confused. Why was this creature carrying it? Why wasn't it running or fighting? The adult creature started walking again, matching Hana's pace. It stayed closer now, only 5 meters away. Protective of its young, Hana thought. That made sense. Every species protected its children. The team moved with her, surrounding her but giving her space. Nobody spoke. The only sounds were boots on stone and the distant calls of unknown animals. The cub's weight pressed into Hana's shoulders, making each step harder than the last. They had 9 kilometers left to go. The sacred stones waited somewhere ahead. Hana adjusted her stride slightly, compensating for the extra weight. Her back already ached, but she pushed the pain aside. Pain could wait. Survival came first. The orange sun continued its slow climb across the alien sky. The path grew steeper. Hana felt every muscle in her legs working hard to push her body upward. The extra weight on her back made everything more difficult. The cub had settled into a position with its body pressed against her pack and its claws locked into the fabric. Every few minutes, it would shift slightly, and Hana would feel those deadly claws move across her back. Sweat ran down her face. She wanted to wipe it away, but kept her hands on her walking poles instead. Balance mattered more than comfort right now. One slip on these rocks could mean falling, and falling meant the cub might panic. Panicked animals used their claws. "How are you holding up, Captain?" Jinwoo asked. He walked beside her now, close enough to help if needed, but far enough to give her space. "I'm fine," Hana lied. Her shoulders burned, her back ached. The weight felt heavier with each step. But she could not show weakness, not in front of her team, not in front of the Kai observers who watched everything. The adult creature still followed them. It climbed the rocks easily, its 4 legs finding holds that seemed impossible. Sometimes it would move ahead, then stop and wait, watching Hana with those 4 unblinking eyes. Other times it dropped back, following from behind. Always it stayed close to the human carrying its young. 2 hours passed, then 3. The orange sun reached its highest point in the sky. The heat became almost unbearable. Hana's water supply ran lower with each sip. She rationed carefully, knowing they still had many kilometers to go. The cub made small sounds occasionally, chirps and whistles that reminded Hana of birds back on Earth. But this was no bird. Its weight told her it was solid and strong. Its claws told her it was dangerous. Yet something about those sounds seemed almost peaceful, like the creature was comfortable where it sat. "The Kai are talking among themselves," Sora reported from the rear. Her equipment could pick up their communications even from a distance. "They sound surprised." "About what?" Hana asked. "You. They expected the cub to attack by now, or for you to try removing it." Hana said nothing. She focused on placing one foot in front of the other. The rocks under her boots showed different colors now, ranging from deep red to pale pink. Some had patterns like waves frozen in stone. Beautiful, she thought distantly, then pushed the thought away. Beauty could wait too. Yuna moved closer on Hana's other side. "Captain, I need to tell you something. The database has more information about these creatures. They're called thornbacks. The cubs test potential threats by jumping on them. If the threat fights back or runs, the adult attacks. But if the threat does nothing—" "What happens?" Hana asked. "Nobody knows. No species has ever done nothing before." Hana processed this information. Every other species had either fought or fled. Both responses triggered attacks, so humans were trying something new, something that might work or might get them all killed. "We stay the course," Hana decided. The path leveled out for a while, giving Hana's legs a brief rest, but her back and shoulders got no relief. The cub's weight never changed. Its claws never loosened their grip. She felt like she carried a living backpack that might explode at any moment. They passed through an area filled with strange plants that looked like mushrooms but stood as tall as trees. Their caps spread wide overhead, blocking out some of the orange sunlight. The air here felt cooler. Hana took the opportunity to drink more water. Her throat felt like sand. "Movement ahead," Minho called out. "Multiple contacts." 3 more thornbacks emerged from behind the mushroom trees. They were smaller than the one following Hana, but still dangerous looking. All of them had the same 4 eyes, the same deadly claws. They approached slowly, not attacking but not retreating either. The adult thornback that had been following them moved forward. It placed itself between the humans and the newcomers. A deep rumbling sound came from its chest, like distant thunder. The other thornback stopped. They watched for a long moment, then slowly backed away and disappeared into the mushroom forest. "Did that creature just protect us?" Hyun asked, surprise clear in his voice. It seemed that way. The adult thornback had defended the humans from others of its kind. Because its cub rode on Hana's back? She did not know. Understanding alien behavior took time, and they had no time for careful study right now. They continued walking. The mushroom forest gave way to open ground again. The sun hit them full force. Hana's vision blurred slightly from the heat and exhaustion. She blinked hard, forcing her eyes to focus. Her legs felt like they belonged to someone else, moving automatically while her mind drifted. "Captain, you need to rest," Jinwoo said firmly, "even for just 5 minutes." "We can't stop," Hana replied. "Stopping might trigger an attack response. You're going to collapse." "Then I collapse, but I don't stop walking until I do." The team fell silent. They knew their captain well enough to recognize when she had made a final decision. Hana had always been stubborn. It was one reason she had been chosen for this mission. Humans needed someone who would not quit no matter what happened. 4 hours became 5. 5 became 6. The orange sun began its slow descent toward the horizon. Long shadows stretched across the ground. The air grew slightly cooler, which helped. Hana's pace had slowed without her realizing it. Each step took more effort than the last. The cub on her back had gone quiet. No more chirps or whistles, just weight and the constant pressure of claws against her jacket. Hana worried briefly that something might be wrong with it, then pushed the thought away. She could not afford to care about the creature's comfort. She had to focus on moving forward. "I can see them," Yuna said suddenly. "The sacred stones, 3 kilometers ahead." Hope gave Hana new energy. 3 kilometers. She had already walked 7 with this creature on her back. 3 more was nothing. Just keep moving. Just keep breathing. 1 foot in front of the other. But those 3 kilometers felt longer than all the previous 7 combined. Every step was a battle. Her legs shook with exhaustion. Her back felt like it might break. The cub's weight seemed to double with each passing minute. Sweat soaked through her uniform completely now. She tasted salt on her lips. The adult thornback stayed close. It had not left them for the entire journey. Hana noticed it was watching her more carefully now, its 4 eyes tracking her every movement. Could it sense her weakness? Did it know she was near her limit? 2 kilometers left. The sacred stones looked like giant fingers pointing at the sky. Made of the same pink and red rock that covered this region, they stood at least 20 meters tall. The Kai observers had moved closer. Dozens of them now lined the path, their flying cameras recording everything. Hana saw Ambassador Taiho standing near the stones. His large eyes watched her approach. Ambassador Minji stood beside him, her blue-green feathers catching the fading sunlight. Other Kai surrounded them, all silent, all watching. 1 kilometer. Hana's vision narrowed. She could see only the path ahead, nothing else. Her body moved on instinct and will alone. Every muscle screamed for her to stop. Her back sent waves of pain through her entire body. The cub's claws had worked their way deeper into the fabric. She felt them now against the protective vest, pressing hard enough to dent the material. 50 meters. The Kai parted to let her through. Hana heard them making sounds in their own language, surprise, maybe, or respect. She could not tell and did not care. The stones waited just ahead. 20 meters. The adult thornback moved beside her, matching her pace exactly. Its rumbling sound had changed to something softer, almost gentle. The cub on her back shifted its weight, and for a moment Hana thought it might jump off. But it stayed where it was. 10 meters. Hana's legs nearly gave out. She caught herself, stayed upright through pure determination. Not yet. Not when she was this close. 5 meters. She could see patterns carved into the sacred stones, ancient symbols that meant nothing to her but everything to the Kai. Then she was there. Her hand touched the nearest stone, smooth and warm from the day's heat. Hana leaned against it, finally allowing herself to stop moving. Her legs shook, her back burned, but she had made it. The cub's weight suddenly lifted. The creature had jumped down. Hana turned slowly to see it standing on the ground, looking up at her with eyes that seemed too intelligent for such a young animal. The adult thornback approached its offspring, touching it gently with 1 clawed foot. A gesture of affection, perhaps. Ambassador Taiho stepped forward. His expression was impossible for Hana to read, but his voice carried clear emotion when he spoke. "No one has ever done this before." Hana's legs finally gave out. She slid down the sacred stone until she sat on the ground with her back pressed against the warm rock. Her chest heaved as she tried to catch her breath. Every part of her body hurt. Her shoulders felt like someone had beaten them with hammers. Her back throbbed with a deep, constant ache that made her want to cry out. But she kept silent, watching the thornback cub as it stood nearby with its parent. Jinwoo rushed forward with medical equipment. "Let me check you for injuries." "I'm fine," Hana said automatically. Her voice came out rough and hoarse. She had not realized how dry her throat had become. "You're not fine. You just carried a venomous predator on your back for 10 kilometers. Jinwoo knelt beside her and pulled out his medical scanner. The device hummed as it passed over her body, reading her vital signs. His face tightened as he looked at the results. Your heart rate is dangerously high, blood pressure elevated, multiple muscle groups showing severe strain. Captain, you pushed yourself way too hard. Did we pass the test? Hana asked, ignoring his concerns. Jinwoo glanced at the Kai observers, who still stood in a wide circle around them. I don't know. They're not saying anything. The other team members gathered close. Yuna offered Hana a water container, which she accepted gratefully. The liquid felt like heaven against her burning throat. She drank slowly, knowing her stomach might rebel if she went too fast. Minho stood watch, his eyes on the adult thornback, which had settled down with its cub between its front legs. Sora and Hyun checked their equipment, making sure everything had survived the journey. Ambassador Taiho approached slowly. The tall Kai moved with a grace that made Hana envious in her current exhausted state. His silver feathers caught the fading light as the orange sun touched the horizon. He stopped 3 meters away, studying Hana with those large, dark eyes. You carried the cub, he said. A statement, not a question. Yes, Hana replied simply. For the entire march. Yes. Why? Hana thought about her answer carefully. This felt important, like her words mattered as much as her actions. Because attacking it would have made its parent attack us. Running would have done the same. The only choice left was to accept its presence and continue our mission. Taiho tilted his head, a gesture Hana had learned meant curiosity among the Kai. You speak of logic, but logic alone does not carry 10 kilometers with pain. What else drove you? What else? Hana looked at the cub, now grooming itself with a long tongue while its parent watched over it. It was just a baby. It wasn't trying to hurt me. It was testing me, learning about me. How could I hurt something for being curious? Murmurs spread through the gathered Kai. They spoke in their own language, too fast for Hana's translator to keep up, but their body language suggested surprise, perhaps even shock. Ambassador Minji stepped forward to join Taiho. In 300 cycles of testing, Minji said, her voice softer than Taiho's, 62 species have attempted the sacred march. All failed. Most turned back when they saw the thornbacks. Some tried to fight and died. 3 species made it halfway before exhaustion forced them to stop. Not one ever carried a cub. Why not? Hana asked. Because it seems impossible, Taiho answered. The cubs are heavy. Their claws are sharp and carry venom. Every instinct tells you to remove the threat. Every survival mechanism screams to fight or flee. Your species calls this fight or flight, yes? Hana nodded. The thornback cubs evolved to trigger this response in potential predators. They jump on threats to judge how dangerous those threats are. If the threat fights, the parent knows to attack. If the threat flees, the parent knows to chase. It is a perfect system for protecting their young from danger. But I did neither, Hana said, understanding dawning. No, you did something we have never seen. You accepted the burden and carried it without complaint. You endured pain and exhaustion without breaking. You showed patience beyond measure. Taiho's large eyes seemed to shine in the fading light. Tell me, Captain Hana, is this normal for your kind? Hana laughed, then immediately regretted it as pain shot through her ribs. No, most humans would have panicked. She paused, searching for the right words. I just knew that giving up wasn't an option. My team needed me to succeed. My planet needed this alliance, and somehow I felt that the cub needed me to understand it wasn't an enemy. The Kai fell completely silent. Even the sounds of the alien wilderness seemed to fade away. Hana felt like the entire planet held its breath, waiting for something she could not name. Then Ambassador Minji did something unexpected. She lowered her body until her head was level with Hana's, a gesture of deep respect among the Kai. We tested you to see your strength. We found something more valuable. We found wisdom. Other Kai began lowering themselves as well, one by one, until every member of their delegation had matched Minji's gesture. Hana did not know what to do. She tried to stand, feeling it would be rude to remain seated while they honored her this way, but her legs refused to cooperate. Jinwoo had to help her to her feet, supporting most of her weight. The adult thornback made its rumbling sound again. It stood up, gently nudging its cub forward with one massive paw. The cub approached Hana on unsteady legs. When it reached her, it sat down and looked up at her with eyes that seemed far too knowing for such a young creature. "What's it doing?" Hana asked quietly. "Showing trust," Taiho replied. "The adult would never let its young approach a predator. By sitting at your feet, the cub declares you are not a threat. By allowing this, the parent agrees." The cub made a soft chirping sound. Without thinking, Hana reached down and touched its head gently. The scales felt warm and smooth under her fingers. The cub leaned into her touch, clearly enjoying the attention. Behind it, the adult thornback watched but made no aggressive moves. "Incredible," Minji whispered. "They have accepted you as part of their group. This has never happened with any other species, not even with us, and we have lived on this planet for thousands of cycles." Yuna spoke up from behind Hana. "What does this mean for us? For the Alliance?" Taiho stood up straight again, followed by the other Kai. "It means everything has changed. We created this test to measure strength and determination. We wanted to know if humans could survive our world's dangers, but you have shown us something we did not think to test for. You showed us that humans possess a rare combination of traits. You are strong enough to endure great hardship, patient enough to accept burdens without complaint, and compassionate enough to care for creatures that might harm you. The Kai Alliance has strict requirements for membership," Minji added. "Species must demonstrate military strength, technological advancement, and cultural sophistication. You humans have shown all these things in your communications with us, but today, you showed us something more important. You showed us character." Hana's mind raced despite her exhaustion. Character? She had simply done what needed to be done. Carried a creature because attacking it or abandoning it seemed wrong. How did that prove anything about humanity as a whole? As if reading her thoughts, Jinwoo spoke. "Captain, I need to tell you something. While you were walking, we monitored your vital signs constantly. Your pain levels should have forced you to collapse after 5 kilometers at most. The weight distribution was all wrong, putting massive strain on your spine and shoulders. Any reasonable person would have stopped, would have found a way to remove the cub safely. But you kept going." "My job is to lead," Hana said simply. "I couldn't stop." "No," Minho said, his voice filled with emotion. "You wouldn't stop. There's a difference. You could have stopped any time, could have asked for help, could have found another way. But you chose to endure because you understood something the rest of us missed. That cub wasn't just testing you, it was trying to understand you, and you let it." The orange sun had almost completely set now. The first stars appeared in the darkening sky. Alien constellations that bore no resemblance to Earth's familiar patterns. Hana looked up at them, feeling suddenly small. One human on one alien planet, representing her entire species. The weight of that responsibility felt heavier than any cub. "What happens now?" she asked the ambassadors. Taiho and Minji exchanged glances, communicating in some way Hana did not understand. Then Taiho spoke, his words careful and measured. "Now we return to the council chambers. Now we tell them what we witnessed today. Now we recommend that humanity be granted full membership in the Kai Alliance, with all rights and privileges that entails." "Just like that?" Sora asked, disbelief clear in her voice. "After one test?" "Not just one test," Minji corrected. The test of a lifetime. Your captain walked through pain that would have broken others. She carried a burden that seemed impossible. She showed mercy to a creature that could have killed her, and in doing so, she revealed the true nature of humanity. You are survivors, yes, but more than that, you are caretakers, protectors, beings who choose compassion even when it costs you dearly. The cub at Hana's feet chirped again and rubbed against her leg like a cat. Hana smiled despite her exhaustion. Such a simple gesture from such a dangerous creature. She had nearly died carrying this small being across 10 kilometers of hostile terrain. And yet, looking down at it now, she could not bring herself to regret the decision. "Can I ask something?" Hana said to Taiho. "Of course." "What would have happened if I had failed? If I had removed the cub or stopped walking?" Taiho's expression darkened. "Then the adult would have attacked. You and your team would have died, and humanity would have been forbidden from ever returning to Verath or any world in the Kai Alliance. This test had no middle ground, only complete success or total failure." Hana felt cold despite the warm evening air. She had walked for hours not knowing that any mistake would mean death. For her and everyone she led. The weight of that knowledge settled over her like a heavy blanket. The Kai had prepared a camp near the sacred stones. They brought out lights that floated in the air without any visible support, casting a soft blue glow over the area. Hana watched them work with tired eyes, still sitting against the stone where she had collapsed. Her body refused to move, even though her mind kept telling her she should help, or at least stand up properly. The thornback cub had not left her side. It lay curled up next to her leg, occasionally making small, contented sounds. The adult remained nearby as well, watching its offspring but no longer showing any signs of aggression toward the humans. If anything, the large creature seemed relaxed, almost comfortable in their presence. "You need to eat something," Jinwoo said, offering Hana a nutrition pack from their supplies. "Your body is running on empty." Hana took the pack, but her hands shook too much to open it. Jinwoo noticed and opened it for her without comment. The food inside looked like brown paste, but tasted surprisingly good, with flavors of meat and vegetables mixed together. She ate slowly, feeling strength gradually return to her muscles. Around them, the Kai set up what looked like a celebration. They brought out containers of food and drink, unfurled colorful fabrics that served as ground covers, and began playing music from small devices. The sounds reminded Hana of wind chimes mixed with bird songs, beautiful and strange at the same time. Ambassador Taiho approached and sat down near Hana, folding his forearms in a complex pattern. "Among my people, we have a tradition. When someone accomplishes something extraordinary, we share stories. We want to understand how they found the strength to succeed. Would you share your story with us, Captain Hana?" Hana looked at him in surprise. "My story? There's not much to tell. I grew up on Earth, joined the space program, worked hard, and got chosen for this mission." "That is the outline," Taiho said. "But we want to know what lives inside the outline. What shaped you into someone who could carry a thornback cub for 10 kilometers? Other Kai gathered around, settling onto the ground in a circle. Hana's team members joined them, though they looked as confused as Hana felt. She did not think of herself as special or extraordinary. She had simply done her job. But the Kai waited patiently, their large eyes reflecting the floating lights. Even the adult thornback seemed to be listening, its head tilted slightly in their direction. Hana took a breath and began. "When I was 7 years old, my family lived near a forest. One day I found a bird with a broken wing. It was a small thing, brown and ordinary looking. My mother told me to leave it alone, that nature would take its course. But I couldn't. I took it home and tried to care for it." "Did it survive?" Minji asked softly. "No. It died 3 days later despite everything I did. I cried for hours. My father found me and sat with me. he said something I never forgot. He told me that caring for others, even when it's hard, even when it fails, is what makes us human. That the bird knew kindness in its final days because of me. That mattered. The Kai made small sounds of approval. Hana continued. I carried that lesson with me. When I joined the space program, I wasn't the smartest or the strongest. Other candidates had better scores, more impressive backgrounds, but I never quit. Every time training got hard, I remembered that bird. I remembered that trying matters, even if you might fail. And today? Taiho prompted. When the cub jumped on your back? Hana smiled slightly. Today I thought about that bird again. This cub wasn't trying to hurt me. It was just being what it was, doing what its instincts told it to do. How could I hurt it for that? How could I abandon our mission because things got difficult? I just had to keep walking. One step at a time, like I always have. Silence fell over the group. Then, unexpectedly, the adult Thornback stood up and walked toward Hana. Her team tensed, hands moving toward weapons. But the creature moved slowly, deliberately, with no sign of aggression. It approached until it stood directly in front of Hana. The Thornback lowered its massive head and gently touched Hana's shoulder with its snout. The gesture felt unmistakably affectionate. Then it made a sound Hana had not heard before, a low, melodic tone that seemed to vibrate through her chest. What is it doing? Hana whispered. Taiho's voice carried wonder when he replied. It is singing. Thornbacks only sing to family members to express deep affection and trust. Captain Hana, this creature has claimed you as family. The cub at Hana's feet woke up and added its own higher-pitched voice to its parent's song. The two Thornbacks harmonized together, creating a sound that was both alien and somehow familiar. It reminded Hana of lullabies her mother used to sing. Tears welled up in Hana's eyes. The pain in her body faded into the background as she listened to their song. These creatures, these dangerous predators that had tested her so harshly, now welcomed her as one of their own. The connection she felt was real and profound and completely unexpected. When the song ended, the adult Thornback carefully lay down next to Hana, curling its body in a protective semicircle around her. The cub immediately crawled over to nestle against its parent, but kept one paw touching Hana's leg. They formed a strange family portrait, human captain, massive predator, and small cub, all resting together under alien stars. I have lived for 43 cycles, Ambassador Minji said, her voice thick with emotion. I have witnessed many wonders in my time, but this surpasses them all. To see a Thornback claim a being from another world as family, I did not think it possible. Yuna spoke up quietly. Does this change anything? For the Alliance, I mean? It changes everything, Taiho answered. The Thornbacks are sacred to our people. They were here long before the Kai arrived on Verath. We have always respected them, feared them, admired them from a distance. But we never connected with them. They remained apart from us, neither friend nor enemy, simply existing in their own way. He gestured toward Hana and the Thornbacks. Now a human has done what we could not. She has bridged the gap between species through patience and compassion. This will be recorded in our histories. Songs will be written about this day. And every Kai will know that humans possess something special, something we value above all else. What's that? Jinwoo asked. The ability to see beyond yourself, Minji replied. To endure hardship not for personal gain but because you understand something larger is at stake. Captain Hana suffered greatly today. Her body will need days to recover. But she gained the trust of beings who trust no one. That is worth more than all the technology or weapons in the galaxy. The night deepened around them. More stars appeared. So many that they seemed to blend together into rivers of light across the sky. The Kai shared their food with the humans, offering dishes made from local plants and animals. Some tasted wonderful, others were strange, but all were given with warmth and genuine hospitality. Minho sat down on Hana's other side, careful not to disturb the sleeping cub. "Captain, I have to ask, at any point during that march, did you think about giving up?" Hana thought back over those brutal hours. The pain, the exhaustion, the fear that she might collapse before reaching the stones. Yes, many times. Every step in the last kilometer I wanted to quit. My body was screaming at me to stop. But then I would feel the cub shift on my back, and I would remember why I was doing this. Not just for Earth, not just for the Alliance, but for that little creature that jumped on me because it wanted to understand me. "That's what I thought," Minho said. "You're insane, Captain, completely insane, and I'm honored to serve with you." Hana laughed, and this time the pain in her ribs was bearable. "Thank you, Minho. I think." Sora and Hyun joined the circle, bringing news from Earth. They had been sending regular updates throughout the mission, and now messages were coming back. The entire planet was watching and waiting to hear the results of the test. Governments, corporations, ordinary people, all hoping that humanity would gain access to the Kai Alliance and all it offered. "What should we tell them?" Sora asked. Before Hana could answer, Taiho spoke. "Tell them that humanity has not only passed the test, but exceeded all expectations. Tell them that the Kai Alliance welcomes them with open arms and open hearts. Tell them that their Captain Hana has shown us what humans truly are, and we are honored to call you friends." The weight of those words settled over the humans. They had done it. Against all odds, facing a test designed to break them, they had succeeded. Earth would join the galactic community. Everything would change. But as Hana sat there with a thornback cub sleeping against her leg and its parent guarding her like precious treasure, she realized something important. The test had changed her too. She had learned that connection could exist between any beings, no matter how different they seemed. That compassion transcended species. That sometimes the greatest strength was not in fighting or fleeing, but in accepting and enduring. The cub stirred in its sleep, making small, contented sounds. Hana reached down and gently stroked its scaled head. It leaned into her touch without waking, trusting her completely. "We should rest," Jinwoo said. "Tomorrow we have to make the journey back." "Will they come with us?" Yuna asked, nodding toward the Thornbacks. Taiho and Minji exchanged glances. "We do not know," Taiho admitted. "Thornbacks are unpredictable. They follow their own desires. But given what we have witnessed today, I would not be surprised by anything." The Kai provided sleeping arrangements for the humans, soft mats that somehow adjusted to body temperature. Hana's team settled down one by one, exhaustion finally claiming them. But Hana stayed awake a little longer, watching the stars and listening to the gentle breathing of the Thornbacks beside her. She thought about her father's words all those years ago. Caring for others mattered, trying mattered, even when it was hard, even when it hurt, especially then. The cub shifted closer to her, seeking warmth. The adult Thornback's tail moved to rest across Hana's legs like a protective blanket. And there, under alien stars, surrounded by new friends from two different species, Captain Hana finally let herself sleep. Tomorrow would bring new challenges: the journey back, official ceremonies, diplomatic negotiations. But tonight, she had earned something precious. She had earned the trust of beings who trusted no one. She had proven that humans belonged among the stars. And she had learned that family could be found in the most unexpected places. Morning arrived with a gentle warmth. The orange sun rose slowly over the horizon, painting the sky in shades of red and gold. Hana woke to find the thornback cub still pressed against her side and the adult standing watch a few meters away. Every muscle in her body screamed in protest as she tried to sit up. The pain from yesterday had somehow gotten worse overnight. Jinwoo was already awake and checking his medical equipment. He noticed her struggling and came over immediately. "How do you feel?" "Like I got hit by a truck," Hana admitted. "A very large, very angry truck." "Your body went through extreme trauma yesterday. You need at least a week of rest before attempting any physical activity." Jinwoo ran his scanner over her again, frowning at the results. "Multiple muscle groups are damaged. Your spine has compression in 3 places. You're lucky you didn't cause permanent injury." "But I didn't," Hana pointed out. "I'm still here, still moving." "Barely." Jinwoo gave her a stern look. "Captain, you can't keep pushing yourself like this. Eventually, your body will give out completely." Hana knew he was right, but she also knew that leaders sometimes had to push past their limits. That was the job. "Help me stand?" With Jinwoo's support, Hana managed to get to her feet. The movement woke the cub, which chirped in surprise and scrambled up quickly. It looked at Hana with what seemed like concern, then made a questioning sound. The adult thornback approached and nuzzled its offspring gently before turning its attention to Hana. The large creature studied her for a long moment. Then it did something remarkable. It lowered itself until its back was level with Hana's waist and made a soft, rumbling sound. "I think it's offering you a ride," Yuna said from behind them. She had woken up too and was watching with wide eyes. "Can thornbacks be ridden?" Hana asked the Kai ambassadors, who had also emerged from their sleeping area. Taiho shook his head slowly. "Not by us. We are too light and our bodies are wrong for it. But you humans have different proportions. And this one clearly wants to help you." Hana looked at the thornback, then at the long journey ahead, 10 kilometers back to where they had started. She did not think her legs could carry her that far in her current condition. But could she really ride on this creature's back after it had tested her so harshly yesterday? The thornback rumbled again, more insistently this time. The cub chirped and climbed onto its parent's back, settling in near the shoulders. Then it looked at Hana and chirped again, as if saying, "See, it's easy." "I think they're both telling you to get on," Minho said with a grin. "When a massive predator offers you a ride, maybe you should accept." Carefully, with Jinwoo's help, Hana climbed onto the thornback's back. The creature's scales felt warm and surprisingly smooth under her hands. She settled in behind the cub, finding a natural spot where she could hold on without needing to grip too tightly. The moment she was secure, the thornback stood up smoothly. The motion was gentle, nothing like the jarring movement she expected. "This is incredible," Hana whispered. From up here, she could see much farther across the landscape. The sacred stones rose behind them. The path they had walked yesterday stretched ahead, looking somehow less threatening in the morning light. The Kai packed up their camp with impressive efficiency. Within minutes, everything was stored away and they were ready to travel. The human team gathered their equipment, though they moved more slowly than usual. Everyone was feeling the effects of yesterday's march. "We will return now," Ambassador Taiho announced. "The Council awaits news of the test. They will want to hear everything that happened." The journey back was completely different from the march out. The thornback moved at a steady pace that covered ground quickly, but felt comfortable. Its gait was smooth, almost like floating. The cub rode in front of Hana, occasionally turning to chirp at her. Each time, Hana would gently pat its head, earning more happy sounds. They passed through the mushroom forest again. This time, other thornbacks emerged to watch them pass. But instead of threatening the group, these creatures made rumbling sounds that the adult carrying Hana answered. Some kind of communication, Hana realized. The thornbacks were talking about her. "They're spreading the word," Minji explained, walking alongside them. "By tonight, every thornback on Verath will know what happened. A human earned the trust of one of their own. This will change how they view all visitors to our planet." "Is that good?" Sora asked. "It is extraordinary," Minji replied. "Before yesterday, Thornbacks saw all strangers as potential threats. Now they have seen that peaceful contact is possible. You have not just passed a test, Captain Hana. You have opened a door that has been closed for thousands of cycles." They emerged from the mushroom forest into open terrain. In the distance, Hana could see the landing area where their ship waited. Other Kai had gathered there, hundreds of them, all waiting to witness their return. Word must have spread about what happened at the sacred stones. As they drew closer, Hana could see that this was not just a crowd. It was a ceremony. Colorful banners hung from poles planted in the ground. A platform had been constructed overnight, with seating for important figures. Music played, similar to what she had heard last night, but louder and more complex. "What is all this?" Hana asked. "This is how we honor those who achieve greatness," Taiho replied. "The council has already met and made their decision. They want to announce it properly, with full ceremony. Your species appreciates such things too, yes?" Hana nodded. Earth loved ceremonies and celebrations. This would make for good footage to send home. People would see that the Kai Alliance took their membership seriously. The Thornback carried Hana right up to the platform before stopping. The creature lowered itself again, allowing Hana to dismount. Her legs wobbled when she put weight on them, but she managed to stand. The cub jumped down and stayed close by her side, like a loyal pet. On the platform sat 7 Kai, all wearing elaborate robes in different colors. These must be the council members, the leaders who made decisions for the entire alliance. They watched Hana with expressions she could not quite read. The central figure stood up. This Kai was older than the others, with feathers that had faded to almost white. When he spoke, his voice carried authority that demanded attention. "I am Counselor Dae-hyun, eldest of the Kai Council. We have reviewed the recordings of yesterday's test. We have heard the testimonies of Ambassadors Taiho and Minji. We have debated among ourselves, and we have reached a unanimous decision." Hana's heart pounded. This was it, the moment that would determine Earth's future among the stars. She tried to stand straighter despite the pain in her back. "Captain Hana of Earth," Dae-hyun continued, "you were given an impossible task. 10 kilometers through dangerous territory. No weapons, no defenses. Just your strength and determination. 62 species have attempted this trial before you. All failed." He paused for effect, and the silence felt heavy. "But you did not fail. You carried a burden no one thought possible. You showed patience beyond measure. You demonstrated compassion toward a creature that could have killed you. And in doing so, you revealed the true character of humanity." Dae-hyun gestured toward the Thornbacks, who had settled down near the platform. "These beings, who have never accepted any species in all the time we have lived on this planet, have claimed you as family. They have sung for you, protected you, honored you in ways we have never witnessed." The other council members stood up as well, forming a line beside Dae-hyun. "The Kai Alliance was founded on 3 principles," Dae-hyun said. "Strength to protect, wisdom to govern, and compassion to guide. Most species show 1 or 2 of these traits. But you, Captain Hana, and through you your species, have shown all 3. He stepped forward to the edge of the platform. "Therefore, the Kai Council, in unanimous agreement, grants humanity full membership in the Kai Alliance. You will have access to all our trading networks, all our technology, all our knowledge. You will have a voice in council decisions. You will be protected as we protect our own, and you will be expected to uphold the principles that bind us together." Cheers erupted from the gathered Kai. They made sounds like musical trills mixed with chirping, creating a wave of joyful noise that washed over the area. Hana's team members cheered too, hugging each other and celebrating. They had done it. Against all odds, they had succeeded. But Hana felt tears running down her cheeks, not from joy, though she felt that too, but from relief. The weight of responsibility that had pressed down on her for months suddenly lifted. She had not let Earth down. She had not failed her team. She had proven that humans deserved their place among the stars. The thornback cub pressed against her leg, sensing her emotion. Hana reached down and picked it up, something she would never have dared yesterday. The cub settled into her arms happily, chirping and nuzzling against her chest. "There is one more thing," Daehyun said, and the crowd quieted again. "It is traditional for new member species to receive a gift from the Council, something to symbolize their place in our alliance. We have chosen your gift carefully." Two Kai approached, carrying a large box made of crystal. They placed it in front of Hana and stepped back. Inside the box, she could see what looked like a small plant with silver leaves. "This is a seedling from the Unity Tree," Daehyun explained. "Only one such tree exists in the heart of our capital city. It was planted when the Alliance was founded, and we have never given away any of its seeds. Until now. Plant this on Earth, in a place of honor. Let it grow as a symbol of the bond between our peoples." Hana carefully set the cub down and accepted the box. The crystal felt cool and smooth in her hands. Through it, she could see the delicate plant inside, its silver leaves catching the morning light. "I don't know what to say," Hana admitted. "This is too much. We just did our job." "No," Minji said, stepping forward. "You did far more than your job. You showed us that humans possess something rare and precious, the ability to endure with grace, to face the impossible and find a way through, to connect with beings completely unlike yourself." Taiho joined Minji. "We have been part of the Alliance for 23 cycles. In that time, we have seen many species apply for membership. Most are rejected quickly because they lack the qualities we value. The few who are accepted usually struggle for cycles to truly integrate. But humanity? You have already shown you belong. In one day, you accomplished what others take years to achieve." The adult thornback stood up and approached Hana. It lowered its head and made that singing sound again, joined by its cub. Other thornbacks in the area added their voices, creating a chorus that filled the air with haunting beauty. "They are singing the song of acceptance," Daehyun said softly. "A rare gift. The thornbacks are telling all who can hear that you are one of them, that you are protected, that you are family." Hana listened to the song with tears still streaming down her face. She thought about the journey that had brought her here. All the years of training, all the sacrifices, all the moments when she wanted to quit but pushed through anyway. It had all led to this moment, standing on an alien world with creatures singing her praises. Her team gathered around her, and they stood together as one unit. 7 humans who had traveled farther than any of their kind before. 7 humans who would return home with news that would change everything. But more than that, they had proven something important. That humans were not alone in the universe, that friendship could exist between any beings who chose to build it. That compassion and patience were just as valuable as strength and intelligence. The ceremony continued for another hour. Speeches were given, gifts were exchanged, formal documents were signed in both human and Kai styles. Every moment was recorded to be sent back to Earth and shared across both their worlds. Finally, as the orange sun climbed higher in the alien sky, it was time to return to the ship. The Kai delegation would accompany them back to Earth to formalize the alliance with human governments. Trade negotiations would begin immediately. Cultural exchanges would follow. The future stretched ahead full of possibilities. But as Hana walked toward the ship, the thornback cub followed her. She stopped and knelt down, looking into its eyes. "You need to stay here," she said gently, even though she knew it could not understand her words. "This is your home. Your parent is here. You belong on Verath." The cub chirped sadly and pressed against her hand. The adult thornback approached and touched its offspring with one gentle paw. A moment passed between parent and child, some kind of communication that needed no words. Then the cub turned back to Hana and chirped one more time before running to its parent's side. They watched as Hana walked away. She looked back once and saw them standing together, the massive adult and the small cub, both watching her go. The image burned itself into her memory. She would never forget them. Never forget what they taught her about patience, endurance, and the connections that could form between the most unlikely beings. As the ship lifted off from Verath, Hana looked out the window at the planet shrinking below. Somewhere down there, thornbacks sang. Kai celebrated, and a new chapter in human history had begun. All because one human refused to quit, refused to fight or flee, chose instead to carry an impossible burden until it became something beautiful. The journey home would take weeks, but Hana knew they were returning as something more than they had been when they left. They were returning as part of something larger, as members of a galactic community, as proof that humanity deserved its place among the stars. And in her hands, she held a crystal box containing a silver seedling, a gift from new friends, a symbol of hope, a reminder that sometimes the hardest tests lead to the greatest rewards. The orange sun of Verath faded into the distance as the ship accelerated toward home. Toward Earth, toward a future that now held infinite possibilities. And Captain Hana smiled, knowing she had done something that would be remembered forever. Not through violence or conquest, but through patience, compassion, and the simple choice to keep walking when anyone else would have stopped.